Attribute number 7, worthy to be feared, part 5. Meditation number 30, worthy of all our fear. Isaiah 8:12-14. Do not fear what they fear, and do not dread it. The Lord Almighty is the one you are to regard as holy. He is the one you are to fear. He is the one you are to dread, and He will be a sanctuary. Isaiah 51:12. I, even I, am He who comforts you. Who are you that you fear mortal men? What is wonderful about this attribute? According to James 4:4, loving the world is adultery against God because our love belongs to Him alone. But in today's passage, we see that not only does our love belong to God alone, so does our fear. Just as it is unfaithfulness if we offer our love to another, so it is unfaithfulness if we offer our fear to another. But what about real threats? What if a judge is about to take away your children? What if the lab results will likely show that you have terminal cancer? Is it wrong to be a little nervous if you're cornered by a mugger in a dark alley? Just as there is a right way and a wrong way to enjoy earthly pleasures, so there is a right way and a wrong way to fear earthly threats. Enjoyment of a physical pleasure without reference to God is idolatry. But enjoyment of a physical pleasure as a means of enjoying God's love is acceptable worship. In the same way, fearing an earthly threat without reference to God is unfaithfulness to God. But there is a way to use earthly threats to train our hearts to fear God. If a judge seems to hold your well-being in his hand, remind yourself that he does not. God does. If the ruling does not go in your favor, that can mean one of two things. On the one hand, it may mean that God is displeased with you and is using that unfavorable ruling as chastisement. That's something to be afraid of. You never want God to be displeased with you. But on the other hand, God may be very pleased with you, as He was with Job, and He's using the hard ruling as a means of testing and strengthening your faith, or positioning you for future blessing, or using you to display His glory in some special way, or helping you overcome pride, or preparing your heart for greater faith, or any number of possible blessings. In that case, there is no reason for fear. The lab results or the actions of the judge or the mugger should be feared only if they are expressions of God's disfavor. What effect would it have on your heart if you were to consciously experience God's exclusive worthiness to be feared today? Experiencing this attribute. If you meet an African lion, you should fear God. If you're cornered by thugs in an alley, don't be afraid of them hurting you. Be afraid of the possibility of their hurting you as a tool of God's displeasure with you. If your employer fires you because God is displeased with you and is using the loss of your job as a tool of His chastisement, that is to be dreaded. But if the Lord is pleased with you and allows your boss to fire you for some other purpose, that's nothing to be afraid of. Only God is worthy of our fear. If men gather their forces against you, fear God. And if Satan himself confronts you with the entire demonic host, fear God. This principle applies even to the consequences of sin. When we sin, we face both the displeasure of God and various other consequences. But after we repent and confess our sin to God and receive forgiveness from Him, so that His face is no longer turned away from us in anger, there is no need to be distressed about the other consequences. When you have God's favor, even if other painful consequences remain, you have no reason to fear them, because you have certainty that those consequences are all loving, corrective chastisement, giving you exactly what you most need and are perfectly tailored so that any part that is not absolutely necessary for your good is trimmed off. Think, what are you most tempted to fear in this world? How can you use that to train your heart to fear God alone? Promise to trust today. Psalm 31:19. How great is your goodness, which you have stored up for those who fear you.